Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Think Future. My name's Calabucas, and once again we're coming at you live from deep in the heart of Silicon Valley, California. We're talking innovation, startups, the future. Not necessarily those, and not necessarily in that order. If you're watching on YouTube, smack that subscribe button and hit that bell so you can be notified when a new show comes online. And if you're listening on your favorite podcast service, please subscribe and please drop a note on Apple Podcasts. I'd greatly appreciate it. So I have to start speaking a lot slower. That's right, folks. I have to start speaking a lot slower because I found out a fact the other day which made me incredibly unhappy. So those of you who read my blog, I have a blog, Think Future blog. It's on my website, and link is below. And I was writing blog posts. I've been writing blog posts in line with trying to do some content marketing. Now, everybody does content marketing, right? You do content marketing. Your company does content marketing. Organizations do content marketing all the time because they feel that content marketing is a way to bring in new customers, right? Bring in new clients. But I found out the other day, and this is a battle that I've been fighting for a really long time, and you've probably been fighting it as well. How much content do you need to actually create in order to, have an effective content marketing strategy, right? And I wrote a blog post about this a long time ago about how content marketing is a scam. And I just want to sort of reiterate that a little bit now. Is that, do you remember in the long lost days of the internet, it used to take, a 300-word blog post to get indexed by Google? And then it was a 500-word blog post, then it was an 800-word blog post, then it was a 1,000-word blog post. And I read just the other day that Google will pretty much ignore your blog post unless it's at least 1,500 words. 1,500 words, 1,500 to 2,000 words. And I'm thinking to myself, well, this target just keeps getting longer and longer and longer and longer. And relevance, if you ask me, has nothing to do with length. You could have an amazing piece of information in 300 words, 200 words, a tweet. But for some reason, Google and all these other search engines have decreed that it has to be of a certain length to be worthwhile. So I thought to myself, well, that kind of sucks, right? Because what if you're trying to be pithy? What if you're trying to impart information without fluff? So I tried to do that. I started up a new show called 60 Useful Seconds. And in my show, 60 Useful Seconds, I would, in less than a minute, impart an incredibly useful tip. Incredibly useful tip. And I thought to myself, isn't this a good idea? Isn't this a good idea to impart an incredibly useful tip in less than 60 seconds? In our attention-starved world, I thought that maybe people would be interested in a short, succinct tip which took less than 60 seconds to send out, and it would improve their lives. So I put it up there. I did 60 of these shows in a row, less than 60 seconds. A very important, useful tip in 60 seconds. 60 useful seconds. I put it up there, and I got almost no uptake at all. Almost none. So I said that to my friend the other day, and I said, aren't people interested in valuable information? Aren't they okay with little snippets of video with valid information? And he said, well, you're behind the times, man. You don't understand the new Google algorithm, the new YouTube algorithm, where every video has to be a certain length. Have you ever wondered why every video on YouTube has to be a certain length? Have you ever wondered why videos are a certain length, but the actual important information within the video is a tiny little bit inside the video? You could have an 8-minute long video, but the important information in the video is 30 seconds here or 30 seconds there somewhere. Even YouTube itself searches within videos for the most useful bit of the video. And I thought to myself, yeah, but I thought that was just because people wanted to create longer videos and just bluster and blunder and talk, you know, instead of actually just provide, like if you go to a video and say, oh, I'm interested in this particular fix or something. Let's say you're trying to fix a faucet or a sink or something like that. You could probably explain this problem in 30 seconds, but it takes 8 minutes to explain the video. They tell stories, blah, blah, blah. It's like recipe blog posts. They have to be, they're extra long on purpose to suck in the search engines. And he said, yeah, there was a period of time when people were posting up super short videos, so they started getting rid of those super short videos. So now they're putting that same kind of length issue on videos. So even if you have an incredibly succinct video with a powerful tidbit of information, which would help people like crazy, you still have to drag it out to an 8-minute long video just so that Google and YouTube and all these other search engines can actually index it and turn it into something that people will watch. And I'm thinking to myself, we've gone off the rails here, people. We've gone off the rails. Instead of Google and YouTube and all these companies trying to bring us relevant information, they use dumb filters like duration or length in blog posts and videos to determine whether something is full of information or not, or is useful information. I mean, when was the last time you went to a site when you're looking for a recipe? Let's say you're looking for a recipe for burgers, right? I mean, how difficult is it to find a recipe for burgers? There's thousands of burger recipes out there. But when you go to a typical recipe site for burgers, there's this huge long story about how I built these burgers and how I ate these burgers with my family and yada, 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 before they actually get to the recipe at the very bottom, and it's like 5 lines. People have figured out that the only way to get shown in the search engine if they have an enormous blog post connected to this recipe. Now, this is the way it is. This is the way it is. And if you fight against the way it is, then your stuff doesn't show. It doesn't appear at all. And I question that. I think that Google and other search engines really ought to stop looking at duration to determine whether or not a piece of content is useful, is relevant. Duration has nothing to do with relevance. Absolutely nothing. And I think the sooner that somebody comes out with a search engine, here's a nice startup idea for you folks, somebody comes out with a search engine that actually looks at relevancy and not duration or not length, and puts that at the very, very top. If I can get the answer to the best burger recipe in a tweet, that's even better for me. Think about it this way. What you're trying to do is you're trying to impart the most relevant information in the shortest span of time, because this is where we are today. Human beings have an extremely short attention span. And the shorter the piece of content you can create, the better. The information packed piece of content instead of an 8-minute long video like this one. That's it for me for today. See you next time, and until then, don't forget to think future.